All right, here we go. Today we have Jimmy Keene, who went undercover in prison in order to get serial killer Larry Hall to confess to his crimes, which was depicted in the Apple TV series Blackbird, where he's played by Taron Egerton. I always mess up his name, Taron Egerton.
A lot of people do.
Welcome to VladTV.
Hey, Vlad. Nice to meet you, man.
Well, it's your first time here, and I actually watched the Blackbird miniseries. Great series, by the way.
Yeah, no, it turned out to be really good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and you're the executive producer, one of the executive producers of that series.
Right.
Congrats on that.
And it's based on my book, too.
Exactly, and your life story.
Correct.
Okay, so this is your first time here. Let's get into the whole thing. Let's start in the very beginning. So you grew up in Kankakee, Illinois. Did I pronounce that right?
No, you didn't. It's Kankakee.
Okay.
And I was born in Kankakee. It's right on the southern edge of Chicago. It's the southern suburb of Chicago. At 17 years old, I moved deep into the city, though. But yeah, so I was born in Kankakee. So.
Okay. And in your book, you talk about how Kankakee was actually voted one of the worst places to live in the U.S. at one point in terms of crime and unemployment.
Correct. Actually, it's really good that you brought that particular thing up because I actually looked at statistics today. In the 1980s, it was the highest crime rate place in the whole nation to live and had the highest unemployment rate in the state. So wasn't a lot of opportunities growing up there.
Okay. And your parents, James Keene, a.k.a. Big Jim, and Lynn Keene.
Correct.
And your dad was actually a fairly decorated police officer.
Yeah. Dad was a very accomplished guy, decorated police officer, very big guy, 6'5", 300 pounds, real big muscular guy. Kind of funny when, at first it was going to be Jeff Bridges was going to play my dad. And then we went to Ray Liotta to play my dad. And my sisters were like, Jimmy, he's not as big as Dad. I said, yeah, well, you're not going to find a lot of guys that are as big as Dad, period,
Right, especially in Hollywood. I don't know any 6'6" Hollywood actors.
Exactly, big stars.
I checked.
Right.
Okay, so you went to high school and you're captain of your football team.
Yep.
And you thought you'd actually play pro football or you'd become a cop.
Those were the two ideas I had in my head, right? But, it wasn't in the cards in the long run. So once the divorce happened with the family, it all fell apart then.
Well, I mean, while you're still in high school, you started to sell weed.
Even younger than high school. Yeah.
Okay, what, junior high?
12 years old. I came across,
Okay.
I don't know if you've read my newest book, The Chicago Phoenix. I go into great detail about, me and my brother and 3 or 4 other guys, we were out in the cornfields riding our bicycles. And we came across about 6, 7, 8 big hefty bags of marijuana hidden out in the cornfield. And it was added up to be about 300 or 400 pounds of weed. And at that point, we said, you know what? Our older buddies that are 15, 16 years old, they'd like this. So we snatched it one night. And that's what got us started into the weed business.
Okay, so now you have all this weed and you're not even a teenager yet. So you start selling to, the kids in the neighborhood?
Well, like I said, I went to the older kids that were like 15, 16 years old, and they pretty much did all the moving, but they were shocked that this little younger kid, me, had this kind of quantity all of a sudden,
Okay. And then I think at 17, your mom kicked you out of the house.
Yep. They got divorced when I was 10, and there was literally no adult supervision from 10 on, and pretty much no financial income coming in the house either. And my mom just let it be known at 17, I was the oldest. We got to start, everybody's got to one at a time start leaving the nest. So at 17, I was out, and that's when I moved deep into the heart of Chicago.